Hey guys, Terry here. I wanted to do another video about the Brother ScanNCut. I've done a couple introductions, and this time I want to go over the three different cutting features on here. So let me first show you when you turn it on and you load your mat. There is an option for patterns. So when you first turn it on, you've got the option for patterns or scanning. So let's just go into the patterns and do that first. So there's a lot of built-in patterns. This machine is the ScanNCut 2 or the 650. There's also a 350. So I get asked a lot of questions about the differences between them. So on my blog post, I'll post the features that are different between the 350 and the 650. So this is the 650, which means that it has a lot more built-in patterns. But if you're using it for scanning and cutting, I don't know that you care about the built-in patterns. But let's just pick a shape here and then show you how it cuts. So you can see two screens here, one of two. I'm on the first screen. So it's got some built-in fonts, it's got some borders, it's got common shapes, some things and some words, and then it's got quilt patterns like those. So let's just pick a shape here, and I'll basically show you that it's just got it's really got every imaginable shape. And then what I'll do in some future videos is show you the software, because really you could use these shapes and their software and kind of design anything that you want to cut out too. So it's nice that these shapes are built in. But basically you would pick your shape, you would pick it, set what size, hit OK, and then tell it to cut. So, and then the start button. So a lot like any other Cricut or Silhouette, you pick the shape, tell it what size. You know, it cuts relatively quickly. So there's the shape we told it to cut out. So just as you expect, it does have lots of shapes built in. And like I said, in my blog post, I'll list more specifics about the built-in shapes between the 350 and the 650. So that's basically the pattern one. Let's go back to the home page. So we went into pattern for that. So then the next thing that you would use it for is scanning. And I think the most confusing thing about scanning is, you know, why is there two options for scanning and cutting? So the first one, this next one that I'll do here, is called direct cut. And then the other option is scan to cut data. And I think that's just a confusing term, but the idea behind here is that you're doing a save. So this one, the direct cut, we're just going to scan it and cut it and forget it. And then the scanning is more where you're saving it. And it's got some more fancy editing features under the saving option. Okay, so let's do a direct cut next. I've got a stamp set here called Tasty Trucks, and it's from Stampin' Up. I think it's from the year 2017. So I like this taco truck here. I thought this was a cute one to show how to both scan it and cut around it, and then also how you use the software to cut inside. If you wanted to, for example, if you wanted to cut the windows out, I thought that would be handy. So here I've got some ones that I've stamped and colored. So I'm going to load this. Okay. And I am going to do the direct cut. I'm not going to use the software, I'm just using the machine. I've told it to recognize the shapes in color. Okay, so notice here on the screen hit scan those trucks. I think I'll just do one for now. Let's do this green one down here. So I'm just zooming in on the shape that I want to cut. It's recognizing it. And then it's got the outside shape. So that looks pretty good. I can zoom in and see that it's got the outside of the truck. So I like that. If this hadn't scanned really well, I would have changed how many colors were in it. And it's just something you got to play with. You can take away and say there's less colors, you can add more colors. So I lean towards taking away colors and then seeing if the image gets better. Okay, so I'm going to hit OK. So now your choices are, do you want to tell it how far around to cut, which is what I'm going to select here. And then this choice here, let's say that I scanned a photograph in and I wanted to cut a circle around it, or I wanted to cut one of these shapes around it. If I do that, notice where it's scanned, it will cut that shape around it. So it's just a good way to scan a shape, but then pick what cut you want to do around it. So I'm going to take that out of there. So that was cutting a different shape around it. This one here, I'm going to tell it how far. I could cut exactly on the line of the shape, or I can tell it to cut a little bit away from that shape. So notice how it's getting bigger. I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to tell it to cut. And then I hit start. Okay. So I'll show you how it cut. Okay. So there's how it cut. Now notice that it had the dirt tracks and everything here. So that's why it cut out those shapes. There was actually another little piece of the dirt. It treated that dirt shape as a separate item. But I think you get the idea. It scanned it, and then we told it to be 0.08 away from the edge. I think it did a pretty good job. Okay, so I think what I'll do, this video is already getting to be about 8 minutes, so I think what I'm going to do is I'll do a second video where I scan inside here and show you how to take have it cut not just the outside, but to cut inside. I'll do that as my next video. So I hope this was helpful. I'll have links to all the Brother information so that you can look at the more details about the machine. But I do really like the Brother ScanNCut, and I've got the 650. Thanks, guys.